As an incoming freshman, one of the most important things that you can do is have an open mind, understand how important learning is, who you are as a person, and that your core values never waver.
You know, you're going to find yourselves looking at college applications, job applications, whatever the case may be, and there's so many steps ahead of you in your life, but the next step is the most important.
We're focused on bringing awareness to issues that don't get talked about in high school, but have to be talked about to prepare students for college, the changes that come, and to provide resources that will help guide them.
With incoming freshmen in particular, the highs and the lows, the adversity that you face, all of these things in the end are going to be worth it. You're going to get your degree, you're going to grow as a person, you're going to enjoy whatever your passions may be, and to embrace the journey. All of these things in the end are going to be worth it.
I think that transition was something that I was nervous about, but your job is to go there to get a degree, to get your education, to be involved in what you want to be involved in, and don't let a scenario or a situation with a man change that.
It was my best friend's older brother, and him and I went into the photo booth. As soon as the curtains closed, he just turned to me and started jabbing his fingers at me, not realizing that my body was violated, not realizing that it affected me the way it did. I've known her brother forever, and then it turns out over 70% of victims know their perpetrator.
Rape is a really strong word, but I feel that sexual assault takes place through the process. It can start with words. Text messages, social media really make it difficult for everyone involved. If they're saying things to you, they're sending you things, pressuring you to do things that you don't want to do things that are out of your character, that signifies abuse. And knowing that the areas of abuse are taking place is the first step.
Take the steps to make yourself feel safe. If you have an instinct, go with that right away, because it's possible that other people could be feeling this way too.
There's a lot of partying going on. There's a lot of excitement of the new school year happening. The welcome week at college is probably one of the most dangerous weeks for young women entering the college atmosphere. And before you know it, a really bad situation can happen in a blink of an eye. Consent is a very important part when it comes to sexual relationships, especially when you hit the college scene and alcohol and drugs become a factor.
Consent's very important, and honestly, I don't remember if I ever learned about it.
I think that that's the problem. There's no set of rules that says this is sexual assault and this isn't.
Don't be afraid to stand up and say, no, this is not what I want to do, and be bold with it. Make sure you have a good group of friends keeping tab of you, and make decisions with your body language and make decisions with your words. I pray that no one goes through something like this, but I know that when you're being abused, because I was, it's hard to come forward. In those situations, when you are quiet, the people that are around you that could help you can't help you. You have to reach out to programs, you have to reach out to the people who love you, your friends, your family. Make sure that you know that there's resources if it does take place. Be proactive about your protection and knowing where things are at. Make sure you know where the police department is. For you to get yourself out of that situation, you have to speak up. And the people who love you are going to jump into action.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had depression and anxiety a little bit because I had body image issues, to be honest.
I think especially the eating disorder is something that I experienced with girls on my team. We were in this sort of toxic environment, thinking negative thoughts about our bodies and what they looked like, fat and ugly and big. Those kinds of words we didn't allow in our locker room to really change that kind of mentality.
Tolerance is finding a way to understand or get to know somebody, learning how to work with different people, where you have very different demographics. Not everybody has the same background, socioeconomic standing. So with working with those different people, you kind of get an understanding of how to have empathy and sympathy for maybe their situation.
They were really struggling with their identity. It's crazy to think that at one point they were so low that they thought that they weren't worthy enough because they were struggling with who they are.
I think in order to stay true to who you are, you just have to remember that your opinion of yourself matters more than other people's opinions of you.
Identifying early on what your values are and what your belief system is can really help you when you're in a tough situation. Identify what you believe in and how you want to act in a given situation.
So to me, when you're not true to yourself, the alternative is waking up in the morning and not liking who you see in the mirror. Because if you're putting up these personal boundaries and actually only subscribing to your own set of values and virtues, one, you're going to be happier, and two, you're going to be able to actually contribute as a human to whatever you choose to.
Some of my classmates, they got through high school, but they didn't have the skills and they weren't prepared for college and what college took. They didn't have a mom, dad, parent, teacher, anyone saying, get up, go to class, don't be out all night, stop drinking. They didn't have anyone to say that. Drinking too much alcohol can kill you. It can literally kill you.
Prescription drugs are a whole nother monster to themselves on college campuses.
People will take prescription drugs to pull a late night and study or to take an exam.
They're unbelievably accessible.
The truth is, artificial substances can bring artificial success. Bottom line, there is no substitute for hard work. When you figure out what you're passionate about and what your goals are and what you believe, you create your own energy. You create your own power.
The hardest part about saying no to peer pressure is the first time. It's difficult. But once you get past that first time and people have it in the back of their minds that you said no before, each time saying no is very easy.
We all have the potential to make many mistakes. We all do. But the best thing that we can do is never give up or quit on ourselves.
Because universities have names, they have standards, they have pride in what they produce, from buildings to academics to students. These days, colleges are looking at social media. They're really doing the research on kids, trying to see what kind of student are you going to be at this university, because if you don't take that stuff seriously now, chances are when it's time for you to make that next step, you're going to find yourself on the outside looking in and wishing you had done some things that could have changed your future.
Before starting college, I wish I knew about mental health. I wish I knew what it was. I wish I knew what depression was. I wish I was more prepared and that I understood stress and anxiety and sort of that whole realm. Mental health is at least as important as physical health. Mental health is something that we don't discuss enough, but affects everything we do. Have a plan for your mental health, like you do for your physical health. I know from experience with depression and anxiety. A lot of changes were going on in my life. My parents had gotten divorced and had football workouts, summer class, so there was a lot to deal with. I just started having these really negative thoughts. I had never felt anything like that before, and I didn't know where they were coming from, but I also couldn't make them stop. Like, I stopped being able to sleep, and I stopped being able to eat. Eventually, I broke down at football, put my helmet down and just sort of let it all out. Pads and helmet and tears. These are all signs of mental health. Right, to get knocked down and to choose to get back up, even if it takes asking for help in whatever situation it is. And that was where I began to heal. Just like when arms break or ACLs tear or lungs become infected, there's help for when your brain isn't working how you want it to. So step up and prepare.
There became a point where I felt like I was more, I felt like I could do more, I felt like I could be more. But I had to figure out who I was and what that more was supposed to be. Having that core foundation going from high school to college is ultimately what allowed me to have a foundation of success.
Value each step in your life. Your next step with your family, the next step in your community, the next step in life. Your next step is your most important step, and you got to live that mentality every day.